Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to game number 2, Cubit versus Soren, the semifinals game. Right now, Cubit up 1-0, and of course, as always, I'm joined by the wonderful Saberman.
Hey, how's it going, guys? And this map is saying to me scientific.
Oh yeah.
You have the left side of the map, which is arguably better, and then you have the right side of the map. So we'll see who wants to take on the rather monstrous amount of debt to take which spot. And we'll see how it goes.
So, to reveal the map option, it's a lot more balanced with the resources. Since you can actually, and it's not that RNG heavy, since you can actually choose where you spawn. There's still a slight RNG to it, but it's not as big as before with the scanning. I guess founding on the sand where the iron is, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, there is a spot up in the north. That's kind of okay, or the one that's adjacent to the water tiles might also be really interesting. My only concern is that there is no steel mill adjacencies on this map, so steel might be a slight problem.
There you go.
Okay.
All right, I'm liking this. Soren actually. Yeah, that is true. Repeat the last game. So Soren actually gonna go ahead as a scientific. Gonna get 2 steel mills and 1 aluminum mine, and then Cubit actually very surprisingly gonna go as expansive. Gonna go get his iron. Gonna go get his aluminum. I'm already liking Cubit a little bit more.
I don't know. He's miles away from his iron.
He is, but like it's expansive. Like come on, like
yeah.
You can't just power through that. While Soren is, he started with 35,000 debt, while Cubit started with 0.
Point something out though. There's 1 geothermal, and it's in the bottom left-hand corner. So
that
Soren is probably never gonna get that. Cubit could get it. My concern is that it's probably gonna be the center of attention for a little while in the game, possibly. And it's going to lead to, power always seems to get really silly in Beta 3, I don't know what does it, but power always just seems to get way out of hand, and Silicon could be the way for some power plays this game, as it was last game. It was very key to what happened last game.
Yep.
And none of them are on any real high ground or anything. I mean, they'll be on 1.1?
I guess so.
1.1, yeah, power solar, but we'll see how it goes. And we see Soren actually building, I'm not sure about this. What do you think? Because this is arguable, because he knows that Cubit's going to have excess iron, but I don't know if is Cubit even going to bother selling it if Soren's going to do something like this?
Probably later on. He's probably going to stockpile until the iron gets a little bit too crazy.
Ooh, this auction though.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's get back to that actually. Cubit 20,000. I think Soren could have went 24 on that.
No, I think Soren was bidding him up. Soren was never going to be able to build that. It's too far away. Like 1 dynamite, and he'd have to send a repair drone 100 miles or something. It would take it so long. Whereas I think he was just driving Cubit up, which was the right move, because he's creating less of a difference in debt between the 2 players again. As you see, Cubit went from having nothing to 23k, while Soren still kind of sat on his 40.
So actually, back to the iron discussion, because that's a really good point. Well, forget about that, because Cubit is just going to go ahead and make 4 steel mills. But yeah, if Cubit would have made 3 steel mills, I think he just would have saved it until a point where iron just reached, the peak. I don't really think Soren would let his steel mills running for a long periods of time if iron would already be like at 50 or 60. At that point, I think Cubit would say like, "Oh, let's go ahead and sell our iron." But
I think this is really bad though. He's giving a more advantage to Cubit for a slight possible increase in steel production, and it's still kind of bad though, because he needs to buy the iron to go into the steel mill. It's barely making a net revenue positive, or at least it was until Cubit sold all the iron.
Yeah. So a lot of things going on here. The power surge going down onto Cubit, his 4 steel mills. Soren actually building reactors, which is making a slight amount of money. And then the food shortage coming in.
Which Cubit bought into?
No, Cubit did not buy into
Cubit
this.
did buy into.
He did? Alright,
yes,
then
he bought 71 units and sold it second last tick.
Damn, that's a lot of money. But the thing is, Soren is actually right now moving into farm. So I'm actually liking Soren's position a lot more now.
Yeah, that was a
'Cause-
pretty good power surge, but I mean, look at the iron price right now. Why would Cubit want to make steel? Oh, never mind, he sells it again. Every time, every time.
yeah.
But
So I actually like Soren's position now because he's gonna have 3 farms going for him. Cubit, he does have the money, but don't really think he's gonna waste a black market item that. But no, he's gonna go ahead buy a goon squad. Gonna place it onto the steel mills of himself. Is gonna go ahead get the geothermal up. Well, Soren actually turns level 3. And there's a solar flare. A lot going on right now. I'd say I think Beta 3 is a lot more action packed. Don't you think?
it does seem to be so, yeah. I mean, that shortage was unbelievably godly for Soren, especially the fact that his food production is adjacent to his base. It's so cheap to build now, and it's even better now that he can build these 2 glass furnaces next to his base. This should give him enough independent glass for his upgrades. So as long as he produces
Oh.
enough steel, while Cubit keeps it cheap, I think this is maybe a misplay from Cubit from just keep selling it down every time it's 40. I would just keep letting it get more and more silly and punish Soren for his mistake with that. But
Yeah.
I think we're just going to see Soren now race for more upgrades and more control and just kind of lock Cubit down in level 2 for as long as he possibly can.
So
We'll see how that goes.
Cubit actually just got thinking machine for 20,000. Um.
It equalizes the 2 players once more. They're both on equal debt now. It's just one of these things that kind of has to
That
happen
is
when
true, yeah.
Cubit's got no debt and Soren has quite a bit to start with. However,
Wow.
there's no power down for Soren Johnson yet.
Nope, not yet. Cubit is actually going to start to go into farms right now, while Soren already has been running them for 2 minutes. Already selling a little bit of that. Yeah, he's kind of spam selling it right now. Well, Soren is actually going to go ahead and make a triangle of glass, which isn't that bad. I'm actually really liking Soren's position a lot more than Cubit's now. He just turned level 4. He's going to probably go into power now. But
Yeah.
I don't really, yeah. Oh,
Well,
solar
I'm
panels.
not sure about connecting it to his HQ. I thought maybe he would build if he was going
On
to
the
connect
water?
it to his HQ. Yeah, on the water. I was thinking the silicone above his base. So like if once he was done, so he could still make glass and convert the silicone, or over the carbon tiles. Do you know the 2 small carbon tiles that are in that crater next to
Yep.
his base? Yeah, so you can convert those into carbon for later on for other projects. I'm not too keen on just throwing them to the side there. I really think they should be over something more important because that's one of the big strengths about solar and wind.
Oh.
Well, to an extent, wind power is that you can convert. And yeah, look at this, look at the carbon shortage. It would be.
I'm actually liking this carbon shortage right now. Like, the thing is, Cubit just bought full on into that with almost 400 units, while Soren, kind of bought a little bit late into that, and didn't even really do much with it.
He did buy a claim to go and get a carbon quarry, I think, but he doesn't seem as bothered now. I think he was just looking at
Yeah.
it being like, oh my god, it went to $100, I should totally build 2 quarries, and then Cubit sold his giant piece, so I think that kind of,
But Cubit made
Forced him away.
31,000 on that. That's a lot.
we see a double mutiny on his solar there. I would just
Yeah.
maybe EMP it or something, that might be worth
Indeed,
or blowing one of
that's
the
a
panels
that's a
up
lot of
just
money
off
right now.
adjacency.
Cubit is making almost $500 just from power.
Yep, I mean it's not going to amount to too much. I mean it is turning night very soon actually. These mutinies are maybe not the best timed because it's 6 seconds it'll clock to night time and these panels, half of the mutiny duration will have been wasted pretty much.
Mm.
So that was maybe a bit of a misplay. That's pretty bad when you're spending 10k on a move like that.
That's
It's
true.
the
Yeah.
full cost of doing something like this, and to get only half value out of it feels kind of bad. I mean, I don't even know if that even made any real money for him, or that was just a giant minus.
This high tile going right now for 20,000. Oh, I just want to say Soren can kind of use this, but I don't really think it's worth 24,000 that he just bid. And then again, I don't know how Soren is getting this much debt.
Auctions and power. Remember, the player that's ahead is going to have way more manufacturing than the guy who's behind. He's got 3 fuel reactors, which is nearly a full unit. His steel is 1.2 units. His glass is 0.6 units. It's all adds up. Look at his power consumption. Look at it now that it's
Yeah.
nighttime. It's insane. Like he's had to build 4 panels, and chances are Cubit's just going to EMP or surge them in the morning because he has more than enough.
Yeah, he
he's
has
already
the
bought
power
the
surge queued up. Yeah.
Already bought the surge. What I would maybe like to see from Soren is to go into the water and try and make a little bit of money there because that glass furnace literally isn't making him any money anymore. So you might as well convert it to a high water pump because it's on a high bit of water,
Mm.
and you can maybe sell the water down a little bit because cubit's now definitely producing an excess. So you might as well try and make a little bit of money there before cubit does, and then maybe convert that into something else later down the line. But we see him go into silicone, and yeah, there we go. There's the water pump. Wonderful.
So Soren right now actually used the EMP onto Cubit's water. Only for 2 tiles. No, 4,000 for 2 tiles. That is not that, what do we call that? Worth?
Yeah,
that
I
case.
don't know, that's kind of okay because it completely locks down Cubit's water production and stops him selling it while Soren does. I mean, we do see Cubit actually opts to surge his production line of fuel and water instead of the...
I actually like that a lot more.
Yeah, I quite like that move, although the solar power is still burning away, still
Well,
melting
the
Soren's
problem
debt and
is,
the power price.
the problem is Cubit right now, he's like, oh, okay. So he's kind of a little bit outproducing me in a couple of stuff, probably making a little bit too much money. So, he's going to power surge the production of Soren, but not the solar panels out. The one reason is that Soren is still over 100,000 in debt. Does that make sense?
Yeah, this is true. This is true. I mean, he's definitely trying to manipulate the fact that Soren's going to have way more debt than him, and that's what will make the closing the game much easier. I mean, but I think this leaving the solar panels on has just kind of bridged the divide by quite a bit. We see that before it was a much larger gap, and now it's kind of closing in and in and in as daylight continues to burn, and power price is just now not even significant. I mean, we really need to see Cubit get some water production up so that you can maybe sell it down so that you can get into fuel, food, chems after once the fuel is decreased.
Yeah.
I think once Cubit starts to get established at level 5, we'll see him kind of start to outpace Soren like he did last game, because level 5 expansive is always going to be more powerful than a level 5 scientific, especially with Cubit having thinking machines that levels the playing field quite significantly.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes.
There's this thing called carbon scrubbing that I was researching. Then why would you actually build your chemicals not adjacent to your base while you're actually researching carbon scrubbing?
I'm not too keen about him building them over the carbon, because he could have made carbon and then built his 4 chem labs where his solar panels are right now, and then he could have just mined carbon and he could have kept that tile for more water, more silicon, something, right? He could have done something else with that tile. And I'm not keen on the pant lab positioning either. Like, it's all its own. Like, what is he going to do once he's done researching patents? Which, look, it's doing nothing right now. This is a claim being wasted.
Well, my thing is...
It could be in his factory line, though. He could have a diamond of food right now if he wanted it.
Ooh,
Why is it not over there?
Well, my thing is kind of that he made chemicals while he was researching carbon scrubbing, but now I kind of think he tossed away 3 claims because, things need to get shipped back and forth. And he could, and as you said, he could have saved those 3 claims for something else. I don't know, like getting carbon scrubbing and then not really, he's not really using it to the full potential right here, even though he just spent so much money on it.
Can I talk about Cubit's base a second? Look where the off-road is positioned, and look how the goon squad is perfect for saving the other production line.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the surge hits the reactors and it just stops once it hits the off-world. I think that's really clever. Soren now knows there's a goon squad on it right enough, which means he should probably just throw a dynamite on it to get rid of the, what would have been 9k goon squad Cubit would have had to pay. You might as well just throw and try and get rid of it, and then try and hit the off-world as maybe a good comeback attempt. But Cubit's now launching oxygen, which is 54k each time. And I don't think Soren's able to stop this. Like, he really needs to get rid of this goon squad and maybe start attacking the off-world in some way.
No.
I mean, even if it's just a dynamite to get rid of the goon squad and then he mutinies it and maybe tries to get a shipment off on his own. But I mean, iron's cheap enough. The only question is the electronics price. Ooh. There we go. We see him go into his own off-world.
Ooh. Kind of like that. But then also, like, the EMP that just hit Soren is massive. Like, that's a lot right there. And also, goon squads are starting to get very expensive.
Oh, we see Soren get teleportation. I don't know if it's... Is it still significant at this stage of the game? Most of his production
Not really,
was very
no.
centered to his base.
Yeah.
Like, it would have been much more valuable for Cubit as you just see blimps everywhere as he burns fuel like crazy, but...
Well,
Yeah,
that's what I said. Like he got carbon scrubbing, then he put his chemical labs right, right away from his base. It's like the same thing. Like it kind of feels like he just got teleportation for his chemicals. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if these are the most best value patents for what he's paying for them. Like the money he's investing could have been much better spent on quicker off-worlds or something else of
Well, no,
that kind of
the
that
teleportation he
matter.
just got from his chemicals, but still, uh,
Yeah, I still feel he's got too little production compared to Cubit. Like even though it looks like he's got a lot more. Like he's just got these kind of
mm,
two reactors, three glass, the three farms. Like Cubit's base resource income's much higher. I mean, I'd like to see Cubit maybe do something with the two solar panels that are just sat next to his geothermal doing nothing right now.
yeah,
I think he definitely maybe invested maybe too much into water tiles. He's got five as an expansive player. That's not something you generally see, but I think Cubit's just making the difference here with his off-worlds from getting in first, and he's kind of beating Soren at his own tactic.
yeah. That is true. Yeah. I mean, Qubit right now. Like the good thing for Soren right now is if he like always checks that no Goon Squad is purchased, maybe he can buy a Power Surge and then get rid of the two off rolls from Qubit. Uh, while actually, Soren is just starting to send away stuff. Also, what I just want to say, just got into my head again. Why electronics and why not just go into oh, never mind. But why not
It
just go
doesn't
into
matter.
reactors? Because the
I'm
prices
not
were
sure. I mean,
130 and 160.
electronics was in 300s, and you always think, oh, it's 300, right? But you only produce like what I don't even know what it is now. Is it?
Exactly. You
It's
don't
very
produce that
little
much.
for 1.5 for three
I
factories,
think, yeah.
four factories, something like that. It's very little production for what you actually get out. So yeah, the reactors would have been really good. We saw Cubit, he's got loads of reactors. He had two triangles. His off-worlds, I really loved the placement of that first off-world. I thought that was amazing. That was really, really nice positioning. As for him getting the thinking machines, that was okay. I just think Cubit played a really good game, considering the circumstance that he ended up in fairly early. Like he managed to bring that back really, really well.
Yep. If we go to the resource tab of Mr. Qubit, yeah, you can see he sold actually a lot of it. I mean, like, he sold
Everything,
everything.
other than chems and well,
Glass.
glass.
Yeah,
That
he
was it.
sold
Really,
everything.
he sold everything else. And he did buy quite a lot of stuff, and most of the oxygen buy-in would have been at the end stage of the game there for shipping it off world.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everything else was just kind of standard. Really, it was just a kind of he knew that he had to play the kind of standard expansive game, and he did so really, really well.
You have to say so, yep. And then, like, if we check out Soren, he didn't sell everything, but he sold a lot more in Qubit. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah. The differences were in the off-worlds, I think, for Cubit. I mean, Sauron didn't even get one away. It was a 200k swing for Cubit, those off-worlds.
Yep. So, like, if we go to the black market real quick, like, Soren spend 60,000, 9 items, 3 claims, 1 EMP, 2 power surges, 1 dynamite, and 2 goon squads. Offensively, but not too, but also very defensively. The three
Yeah.
claims, I think it kind of evened him out
I think he
versus
needed
Cubit.
those. He really needed those.
Yeah,
Otherwise, he just wouldn't have had the production that he did to keep trying to keep ahead of Cubit there.
yeah. So the thing is also, Cubit, getting 1 EMP, 1 power surge, 2 mutinies, and 2 goon squads. Yeah, like Cubit actually not playing too aggressively. Normally
Mm.
we see him, buying 9 to 10 items.
Yeah, I mean, it was just the fact that he knew he was behind and that paying the money wasn't worth, and so he didn't do it. And I think that was a smart move. I mean, we always say that your black market should be off cooldown, but there is certain scenarios like this one where you have to accept that paying that money isn't going to do very much. Like the two mutinies that we discussed, like they weren't worth 10,000. They really weren't worth 10,000 for
No,
what he got out of them.
2 solar
The
panels.
Goon squads were really strong for his off-worlds as blockers for sabotage. It was really clever how you kind of baited Sorn into paying for that power surge to then just have it amount to only one production line being shut off and the off-world still launching shipments and he's still cooking for the
Yep.
next one. Um, But yeah, that was just really well played from Cubit, I think.
Overall, because I'm gonna say I'm actually also on Zoldar's stream on my third screen, and Soren said he doesn't really know why he lost. Can you like just I don't know, like break it down why why Soren kinda was starting to lose the game, even though he was
Cubit kind of
clearly ahead in the beginning.
Alright, he got ahead in the beginning, and then what he basically had after that was a production advantage over Cubit, which isn't something that was ever going to last forever, right? That was something he really, really had to take advantage of his claims with. I mean, we talked about his inefficiencies with various tiles, like the four solar panel tiles were pretty bad. The chem lab and the steel mill. I mean, right enough, he was able to convert that steel mill earlier, so it was less of a big deal, but it was still. He kind of gave leeway to Cubit. He gave ways for Cubit to come back. Another great example is when he built the third glass furnace over the high water tile. What this did was it raised the silicon price, which Cubit was making the silicon, and he sells it down again. He's not
Yeah,
making as much money as Soren, but it's still giving him some comeback material, and Cubit had more claims anyway. Giving him even more of a way of coming back is pretty bad. You should try and avoid doing that in any way possible. I mean, his lockdown was fairly effective. But I think the solar panel tiles really need to be over some water or something else so that he could convert them into more life support, so that he could have got those off-worlds up faster. I think Cubit getting those off-worlds first was a really big deal. I think Soren needed it. Once he got 5, he would have converted those solar tiles into something else more useful, like more food, more fuel, and he could have used those to get his off-worlds, and then from there he can just keep outpacing Cubit with the off-world money and use that to keep knocking him down and buying stocks and getting ahead and staying ahead, but he just didn't build those off worlds. He didn't. He gave too many opportunities for Cubit to come back. The steel mill's another, like that steel mill that was raising the iron price continuously to 40 every now and again. That helped Cubit come back into the game so much because he was in a position where, in a normal game, iron would still be $2. He wouldn't be able to make any money on the iron.
yeah.
If his steel was down, that's it. He can't make any money. And instead, Soren was giving him all small opportunities to make these little bits of money here and there, and that seriously makes a difference for the expansive guy who can just, especially when you've got 4 steel mills and so on. Like once they're back up again, they don't have to be up for very long for an upgrade. And then once you have an upgrade, your amount of claims you have over the other guy drastically increases.
Yeah,
I think just small things like that. I mean, the scientific versus expansive matchup these days is rather interesting in Beta 3, and it's just one
that
of these
is
things that
true.
needs to be looked at a little bit more because before it was always seen that scientific is this most ridiculously overpowered thing, isn't it? And now it's questionable now. I mean, we never used to see expansive in 1v1. That's something that definitely changed the last couple of months.
It did,
And
yeah. Like the thing is, a lot of stuff with expansive actually changed.
they got
Throughout the
nerfed quite a bit,
months.
didn't
Yeah,
they?
it did.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, it was like, well, why would you? But I think the big thing for expansive in the 1v1 is the claim advantage you gain. That's huge, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's what probably makes it better than robotic. Because at least when you're spending these extra claims on the mines and things, you can make up for it later. And expansive still grows pretty damn fast, so it's not too much of an issue. But
Um. So I hope those were your last words because you are ranting hard right now.
I am apologies,
Yeah.
guys.
Um. The thing is, I don't know. I kind of like the matchup because you don't really see expansive versus scientific in a 1 versus 1 so often anymore. Because usually it's just scientific and
It'd be
scavenger.
signed to yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I kind of like to see this, and that also you still can win with expansive. Really nice to see. But overall, I think Kiwa just was a slightly better player. He just came back into game number 2. Um,
Yep.
yeah, that's kind of my thing on that. So guys, hope you like the series. That was right now a 2-0 win over Cubit. Well, for Cubit over Soren. Um, any last words, really?
That was a really good series. That was actually a really good series.
Yeah, I actually kind of enjoyed
Happy
that.
with that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. Hope to see you in the next cast. That will. What will that actually be? That's going to be Game Slayer versus Sword, maybe the third place match, and then the finals will be played on Thursday on the Mohawks game stream, I guess.
Yeah,
Uh,
isn't that PB and
yeah,
Qbit, right?
yeah.
Oh, this feels like that sounds familiar. Where have I heard that before?
Yeah, cubit. Yeah,
Hmm.
PD versus cubit. No idea. But alright, guys. Till then, peace out.
Here you go, guys.